The day you got promoted, something changed. Not the work stayed the same, but suddenly you started buying coffee, laughing at jokes you didn't find funny, and avoiding the conversation you knew you needed to have. Sound familiar? Every new manager falls into this trap. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why it's costing you your authority and what the military teaches us about earning respect instead of chasing it. I want to describe a person. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Day one as a manager, the anxiety is already there. You're sitting with your team, maybe people you've worked alongside for years, and you're trying to figure out, how do I do this? How do I transition from peer to leader without blowing up the relationships I spent years building? So you start doing small things to soften the edges. You pick up coffee, you let something slide that you probably shouldn't have. You approve a request that wasn't quite right because saying no felt too uncomfortable. You joke around like nothing changed. You tell yourself, I want my team to know I'm still one of them. That's a trap. Not because kindness is bad, kindness is fine. But what you're doing in those moments isn't kindness, it's anxiety management. You're managing your own discomfort. You're doing things to make yourself feel accepted, not to make your team better. And here's the problem. The behaviors that make you feel liked in the short term are the exact same behaviors that erode your authority over time. The most dangerous version of this trap is what I call the likability spiral. It starts with one small compromise. You let one thing go, you avoid that one conversation, that feels fine, but now you've set a precedent. And the next time something comes up, you've got to be consistent with that precedent. So you let it go again and again. And now the team has figured out that the standard is negotiable. And it's negotiable when they push back. You've lost control without ever having a single blow up. No drama, no incident, just a slow leak. Let me draw a clear line between these two things because a lot of new managers treat them as the same goal. Being liked means your team enjoys your presence. They're comfortable around you. They say nice things about you. They might even cover for you when something goes sideways. Being respected means your team trusts your judgment. They follow your direction even when they don't personally love it. They know that when you say something, you mean it, and you'll follow through. Here's the critical distinction. You can be liked without being respected. And if you are, your team will walk all over you. Not out of malice, just because the system allows it. In the military, there's no version of leadership where being liked is the primary goal. The unit's mission depends on people following orders under pressure that requires trust, not warmth. It requires knowing that your leader will make the hard call, even the unpopular one, when it matters. I'm not saying military leaders are cold. The best non-commissioned officers I served under genuinely cared about their people, but that care showed up as investment, training them, preparing them, holding standards so they were ready when it counted. It didn't show up as softening the standards so everyone felt comfortable. Here's how I put it in Frontline Command Field Guide. The goal is not to be the manager people like. The goal is to be the manager people trust. Trust is what actually protects your team. Trust is what gets things done when the pressure is on. Likability evaporates the moment you have to deliver bad news. Trust holds. So how do you build respect instead of chasing likability? It comes down to three things. 1, be predictable. Respect is built on consistency. Your team needs to know what to expect from you, not because you're rigid, but because you're reliable. If you enforce a standard on Monday and ignore it on Thursday, the standard doesn't exist. Your team isn't confused. They've already calculated that it's optional. The military equivalent is uniform standards. It doesn't matter how you feel that day, either the uniform is correct or it isn't. The leader checks it the same way every time. That consistency is actually freeing. It removes ambiguity. People know where the standard is. In your world, be the same leader on a good week as you are on the hard week. Be the same in front of your boss as you are when it's just you and the team. Predictability is trustworthiness. 2, have the conversation. The single fastest way to earn respect is to do the thing that makes you uncomfortable, to have the conversation you've been putting off. Every time you avoid it, you trade a small amount of authority for a small amount of comfort. That is a bad trade. I've had people tell me after a hard conversation, I was nervous about this, but I actually respect you more for saying something. That never gets old because they knew the conversation wasn't easy. They knew you had to choose to have it. That choice signals this leader takes the job seriously. This leader is willing to be uncomfortable for the good of the team. That's what builds respect, not the perfect words, the willingness to show up for the hard moment. 3, hold yourself first. This one is simple and it is non-negotiable. If you're not willing to hold yourself to the standard you are setting for your team, you have no standing. None. In the military, the phrase is lead from the front. It doesn't mean to be the first one into danger every single time. It means you are not exempt from the standards you are enforcing. Your team is watching for that gap. They will find it. And when they do, the standard collapses. In practice, this looks like if the start time is 8 o'clock, you're there at 7:50. If the expectation is professional communication, your communication is professional. If you want your team to own their mistakes, you own yours first, out loud, in front of them. Being respected doesn't require to be perfect. It requires being honest. Here's what I want you to take with you. You were not promoted to be your team's friend. That role already existed. You held it before the promotion. What you were promoted to do is lead. And leadership requires something different from friendship. It requires you to make the hard call, hold the standard, have the conversation, and stay consistent, especially when it would be easier not to. The good news is this: you don't have to choose between being a good leader and being a good person. The best leaders are both, but they got there by prioritizing respect over likability, and the respect opened the door to something better than being liked. It opened the door to being trusted. I'm Kyle Schmidt. This is Frontline Command. See you next one.